Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So we just have one piece of news this time out, and that is that we have a couple more preview pages for the upcoming Korra comic, The Mystery of Penquan Island. So these come from Edelweiss. You can see here they have the first 8 pages listed out. It is confirmed that they are the first 8 pages. So we have seen quite a few of these already. Some of them in full color, some of them just in line art form. So on a few of these pages, we actually have the new content just being the dialogue on the pages plus the coloring. And then some of the pages are new that we didn't see because we got like a random assortment initially. So there's actually at least like 3-4 new pages here. So we have a good sense for what happens in like the first like 9 pages of the book. But I'll open up this document here where I have them all in kind of easier to show off fashion here. So again, the book is out February 25th/26th, 2025. So far that date has held since it's been given to us. There's the cover once again, if you are unfamiliar with the book, of course. Big thing being that, of course, we expect Mako and Bolin's parents or details about them to be involved at some point in the story, and the description for the book confirms that. So as we go through these preview pages, remember what is listed in the description so you can have full context on what we know right now. So yeah, their past is going to be involved. It starts off with a strange missing persons case, which it seems like the new pages that we now have tell us more details about, so that's really good. Mako's going to have to make a decision about between his job and doing what he feels is right, which seems to be, should he go ahead with this investigation when a lot of people sort of are saying kind of there isn't really anything to investigate. We haven't been brought in on this, but you're going to investigate it anyway. That's the sort of idea. An upturned room and unhelpful witness aren't promising starts to the investigation, and we maybe get a sense for that here in these opening pages as well. Bolin then comes across a clue that brings the details with their mother into play, and that brings them to Penquan Island, which seems to get alluded to again quite heavily in these pages, even though it's not been specifically brought up just yet. We can see the island's inhabitants are going to have things to hide, and they have to get to the bottom of this, even if it uncovers uncomfortable parts about their family's past. So something about their mother is the Fire Nation part of the family. Naoki, something is bad on Penquan Island, and it might explain why people seem to want to leave that place, but we'll get into that as we go through this. So we've seen these first couple of pages before, so this is just the opening which we have seen. So yeah, it's just the others talking, having a good time. They try to bring Mako in on the conversation because, hey, Mako has all these really cool things that have happened in his life, like he's, part of Team Avatar, his brother was a mover star, he was on a big pro bending team, like he's famous for a variety of reasons, but he doesn't seem to want to talk about these stories, or he doesn't view them himself as being the amazing tales that the others would, and so they view it as he has a bit of a missing personality, not really wanting to get involved with the sort of banter that's going on here. And I'm guessing that might be something that kind of comes into play here, where I'm guessing we'll return to the police at the end, and they'll see that Mako has a bit more to him than has maybe come across in the last while. Then he is called out, so there's a detective requested in the lobby. He jumps at the opportunity to get out of here and get on board with a job. And yes, we are introduced to the kids here. They have the problem. He wants to discuss it back at the desk. This is where we get into the first of the new pages that we didn't know about before. And interestingly, it's where the information starts to properly come out. So straight away, what is his name? His name is Jian, Jian. Then he introduces his sister and brother, Ming Ming and Kibi. And they all live in Sunside Towers, which I'm guessing is some sort of an apartment block type thing. We then get the details of how old he is. He is 9. Where are his parents? They died back in the Fire Nation village where we're from. And I'm guessing when they say that, they mean Penquan Island. So who takes care of the kids? And we'll get to that in just a second. This is where we get our first of these pages that we got initially as line art, but we now have, of course, in color with the dialogue on the page as well. So it's cool to see this kind of progress that they've actually given us some of the early work on this. So yeah, a family friend named Hisa. We call her auntie. She brought us to Republic City because our parents always wanted to raise us here. So again, Naoki basically did this, though we don't know the exact details behind that. And now these children, their family, also wanted to apparently raise their kids away from Penquan Island, which is interesting. Where's Hisa now? And there's a bit of a vague answer, at work. And then Ming Ming pops up and says she doesn't like cops. And this is not meant to be a go-to thing. So clearly Hisa has told them to stay away from the police, not mention anything to them, even if they think something is wrong. And maybe where she works is maybe a little bit like odd, but we'll see what happens with her as we kind of go through. How serious is the problem that they're here to discuss? Our friend is missing. His name is Hai Jun. What does he look like? He's kind of old, white hair, and he wears big glasses. Why do you think he's missing? We stopped by his room at the Ember Sea Suites, where he's staying, but he wasn't there. Mako's just like, well, there's a lot of reasons why someone might not be in their room at a specific time. That doesn't mean he's missing, is the kind of implication. So we then move on to the next page, which is also new, but all his stuff is still there. Even his dinner is out. And well, there might be people around who want to hurt him. What kind of people? Bad people. Haijun is from our old village too, Penquan Island, we assume. He helped us move to Republic City and he was going to stay for a while. Our auntie wanted him to stay for good, but trails off because we get the arrival of Hisa into the police station. So I told you not to get the police involved. We're leaving now. He obviously wants to help. And this is the thing here you get with John. He is kind of going against Hisa's orders here because he feels something is very wrong and that they shouldn't be keeping this a secret and that they should be bringing the police in on this. But clearly, because of whatever thing is going on with Penquan Island and the reason people leave and the secrecy behind it, they are hiding this for whatever reason. And that's the kind of intriguing, like, what is the conspiracy in a way kind of going on here? It's kind of interesting. Mako wants to help, but she just says, I'm the legal guardian of these children. I'm taking them home. Then we get another of the pages we got as line art initially, where clearly she storms out with them for whatever reason. And the text gives us a little bit more context to that. Your friend might be missing. Is that true? And she says, nothing is wrong. This was a mistake. No one is missing. We'll be on our way now. And he says, he waves back at Mako. Clearly, there's been a bit of a connection here because Mako actually is probably the first person to really believe him that Haijun is missing. But yeah, it's best if you just leave us alone. And that's an interesting one. Just the wording there as well. It's like, it's not leave us alone. It's best, like, don't get involved in this. It's bigger than you think. Is almost like an implication in the background of this, which is kind of interesting. And then we get a new page again. This is page 8. Looks like you're off the hook. That didn't seem suspicious to you. But his perspective is just like, hey, she said no one's missing. That means there's no case. And we're meant to close cases. And if one doesn't open up, there's no case to close either. So there we go. That's the situation there. But Mako clearly is interested. He feels there is something wrong. And I sort of wonder in a way, like, when is Mako going to make the connection that this is actually somewhat similar to what the situation is with his family? Is it going to take, I'm guessing the picture coming up, the family, their own family, their mother kind of being involved, connected to this through Penquan Island to bring that up, or what? We don't really know. But clearly Mako feels he needs to be involved in this. Then we get the last page, which we don't have as color. We don't have the dialogue for this one, but we do have the line art. So this is page 9. You can see it says it here. And so Mako returns to the apartment with Bolin. He puts his jacket down, thinks of something, immediately takes the jacket back and heads out. And Bolin obviously makes some sort of a comment about like Mako acting really, really weird. And Pabu replies, I guess. So Bolin, this is his kind of debut in the comic, but it's clearly he hasn't fully entered the story just yet. You do sort of wonder, like, what has Mako just suddenly thought of, given, like, you know, what's happened here. He clearly is reminded of something. Maybe it's because Mako knows where they live now. That might be the situation here, where we have the Ember Sea Suites. He can investigate that sort of separately. Maybe he wants to go back to the the Sunside Towers. I'm guessing, though, because of what the description for the comic says, that is an upturned room, which I'm guessing is what Jayun's room actually looks like right now. So that's the situation. I think I said the character's name completely wrong there. It's Haijun, isn't it? So interesting. We're starting to get the setup, at least. We have, it feels like, all of the setup. The previews stop, it feels like, just short of us properly jumping into the story and really getting the details here. Because again, why is she, and thus the kids, being so cautious about what happened? Why is it like we're from a Fire Nation village and not why is it not being named immediately? What has actually happened here? Like, what happened to the kids' parents? In a way, they died. There doesn't seem to be mysterious circumstances potentially, but you know, the family friends have kind of taken over, raising them, brought them away from the island to protect them in some way. Has Naoki done sort of the same thing? But as far as we're aware, San and Naoki met in Republic City, so what's the situation? It's very, very intriguing, and I do like that as like it makes me really want to read the book, because there is a mystery of Penquan Island, and I think the early pages have set that up quite well. And then there's also like the confirmation already from like the description that it is going to involve Mako and Bolin's mother's backstory. So there's the confirmation that it's going to be something good already, and then it could be something even more interesting. Is very intriguing. But yeah, I think this is a very exciting book. Mako has needed a spotlight comic for a long time, and I'm eager to see what happens here. Obviously, we're still quite a while away from it, but we're slowly getting there. It feels like basically all of the preview material for this book is now out. Now that we have the initial 8 pages, sure, there'll be the Google previews that happen like basically on release or just before release, but it's pretty much just the release of the book at this point, effectively. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are now that we have the full lineup of the first 8 and a little bit of page 9 as well. But we have the full setup for the story, and a lot of the newer pages that we got here have actually given us a lot of the details on what's actually happening, and an obvious sense of Hisa, especially because she's from the island as well, clearly does not want to talk about this at all and doesn't want to involve the cops. And then it's like, what is her job? Is there something suspicious about that? We just don't know. So let me know your thoughts on this book now that we're at the sort of final preview stage, effectively. Where are you at with the Mako one-shot comic? But yes, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.